Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie. Uh, this is number 74, and today's topic is what to do with frustrating projects that take longer than expected. So, hi in the comments, let me know you're here. If you are watching the replay, comment hashtag replay so that I know that you saw it. And if you've had this problem before, type one in the comments. So if you have had a project just take 3 or 4 times as long as you expected it to, type 1 in the comments. And if this is something that generally doesn't happen to you, then let me know that and type 2 in the comments. Hey Mary, nice to see you here. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Evie Burke and I help women entrepreneurs take their productivity to a new level. So at the end of the day, they don't have to worry about what didn't I get done today? Or what is it that I need to be doing tomorrow? There's so many things that need to get done, but instead they can choose to just be with the people that they spend their off hours with. Now, for Mary who is here live, am I streaming correctly? Because my view of it seems to be frozen, so I just want to make sure that it is working for everyone else. I'm also refreshing the page here. So, I will assume that it is going well and I will continue on. I'm a little choppy. Okay, I'm going to adjust my settings here then. I'm going to change the color a little bit, but it should help the choppiness. All right. So let me know if that fixed it at all. And if you get my weekly newsletter, then you know that I have had the same project on my to-do list for about a month. It was scheduled to be done in about 2 weeks, but the more I got into it, the longer I realized it was going to take. So I did all of the things that you're supposed to do with a project. You know, I broke it down into smaller to-dos. I estimated how long each individual to-do would take. I sat down and I worked on each to-do without too much distraction, you know, just worked my way through it. Still a little choppy. All right. Let's try that. I'm playing with the settings on the web camera. So we'll see if that helps at all. I'm not sure what else I can do on it, so we'll just go with it. All right, so had this project on my list for a while, did all the things you're supposed to do, and the more I got into it, the more I found needed to be done. So the project was and still is to select a CRM, and I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail about, you know, all of the information, all of the things that go into what I'm looking for in a CRM, because it's not really the point of this call. But the reasons that this project took longer was I wasn't 100% sure what I needed or what criteria I was going to use to select CRM when I went into it. You know, I couldn't clearly articulate what it was I needed. I knew what done looked like. I knew done was having I knew done was having a CRM selected. That's what done was. But I didn't know what the process to done looked like, which was fine. It just caused some problems with that process, right? So the criteria changed for what I was looking for at least twice. When I would talk to an expert on what I was looking for that, you know, in that particular CRM, I would learn new things, and that would expand what I was looking for or what I knew about the product just that much more. So as I'm a week in, I think by the end of next week, I should know what I'm moving forward with, if I'm moving forward with anything at all. And I've scheduled, you know, some or put on my to-do list some, specific things that I need to get done to do that. But it made me think about, just this whole process made me think about my clients and the people I work with, because this isn't actually something that happens too terribly often, at least not to the extent that this one is taking, where it's 3 to 4 times as long as I thought that it would take me. And one of the things, one of my inclinations was just to blow by it and just get it done. And then I realized that it would actually probably be helpful to you if I shared that this does happen occasionally, even to me. Not everybody has everything laid out. There's always unexpected things that happen. And even sometimes when I sign up for like learning new things, sometimes those take longer than I anticipate, because I don't think about how long it's going to take me to do the homework or to integrate it, or whatever it is. So luckily for me, in this particular case, this wasn't something that affected my clients. It was something that was completely behind the scenes and had no visibility to my clients, didn't affect them at all. So because of that, I was able to give myself some more time. And more importantly, I was able to adjust my expectations. And these are things that, regardless of who it affects, or whether it's more than just you want to see if you can do these things for yourself. Give yourself more time, adjust your expectations around when the project is going to complete, and if needed, reach out to, excuse me, excuse me, reach out to the other people that are going to be affected and let them know that expectations have changed, that what you feel is going to be happening, what you feel the deadlines are going to be moved. And the other thing it allowed me to do was, the other thing I was able to do was set aside higher priority tasks that needed to be worked on when I really wanted to work on this project instead. Let me say that I said it wrong. It let me set aside the CRM project because it wasn't a high priority, and recognize when this other thing needs to be done, this other thing is a higher priority. And even though I want to do the CRM and I want to look at that it's more important for me to do some of these other things. These are actually the higher priority tasks. So if it had affected my clients, some of the things I could have done were adjust or negotiate different expectations or different due dates with my clients, set aside the other things that I was going to work on for that week, or a couple of days, or whatever it needed to be, until the project got done. And I could have worked some extra hours or worked part of a weekend if I needed to. Now, these aren't, especially the last one, working the weekends or working longer hours, I don't always recommend these, because depending on the project, putting in more hours in a week doesn't always lead to more quality work being done. I go back to my programming days, or even my college days, where if I needed to write a paper or study, me staying up all hours of the night wasn't ever helpful. I had to redo the work that happened after about midnight. And even in my programming days, if something was broken at a client that was mission critical and needed to be done at a certain point, the bosses would send everybody home, because they would know that we were reaching a point where we needed to get sleep so we could look at it with fresh eyes, versus the tired eyes that had been looking at it for a really long time. And maybe we're starting to make small mistakes because we were tired and because our judgment was not able to be where it needed to be. So just be aware of those things when, if you have an inclination, well, I'm just going to work longer hours, or I'm going to work more hours. I'm turning on the anti-flicker again because I'm noticing it acting interestingly. So another thing here just to remember is, don't get upset with yourself. And if you do get upset with yourself, that's okay. Just notice it, allow it, Give yourself like a minute or two to be like, oh, I can't believe this happened. This is so frustrating. And then move into action. Move into what is it that you need to do instead. For me, one of the things that I did was I made a list. And I said, okay, these are all of the CRMs that I want to look at. I wrote them all out so I could check them out, check them off when I was done looking at them, make some notes on each one. So later when I was thinking, why didn't I decide to go with, this one, now that I have these new criteria, maybe I should go back and look. I could go back at my notes and say, oh no, but it didn't meet this other criteria, which it has to meet, and then, not go back. So also update your plan. So for me with this one, it meant that I had to rearrange some of the goals that I had just set for myself for that month, for July and for this quarter. So it pushed some other things back a little bit, which is okay, but I just needed to be aware of and present to the fact that this was taking longer and these other goals, these other expectations needed to be adjusted. And as part of that, update any plans, update any people that need to be updated so that you're not affecting other people with, or affecting them as little as possible, adjusting their expectations when some of these things come up. So one of the things that came up, I was going through my email and I was reading an email from Jonathan Fields, and he talked about this new study that just came out that I wanted to share with you. And if it wasn't only an email, I would share that link with you, but it was only in an email, so I can't share the article with you, but I can share the research. So here we go. Oh, my little thing's off the edge. All right, so you might have seen this grid before. So this is, you can call it a decision, not a decision, but like a priority matrix. I've also seen it called the Eisenhower matrix. And this is where you look at all of the things that you have to do, all of the things that are on your to-do list, and they fall in one of these 4 categories. And I labeled them with the way that you would expect yourself to work through them, where you're going to work on the urgent and the important first, and then you would expect that you would work on the non-urgent and the important second, and last but not least, you would work on the urgent, well, not last, but you would work on the urgent and unimportant next, and if you have time, if you're through everything else, then you would work on the non-urgent and unimportant last. So we would say that, yeah, that makes sense. That's the way that we would go through doing the tasks as they would appear in this matrix. But what this study has shown is that our natural inclination is to do all of the urgent stuff first because it's urgent. And so it feels like it needs to be done first, whether or not it's important or unimportant. We feel like it's urgent, there's a time constraint, it has to get done. So I share this with you because when you find yourself with a project that's taking much longer than expected, it's really important to be able to take that step back and look at, where does the project fall? Is it urgent but unimportant? And that was part of it with my project. Was I had an urgency to it, but because it wasn't client facing, it wasn't actually super important that I got that done on the time frame that I had initially laid out for myself. And because I was able to identify that, I was able to move back up here and get some of the important things done, whether they were urgent or non-urgent. Now, it can also work the other direction, where maybe the thing that's taking 3-4 times as long as you expect it, maybe it's important and it is urgent, or it's important and it's non-urgent. If you take the step back and you can use this and just notice, what are the urgent and unimportant things on your list that you can say, okay, I'm going to do these later, or maybe I'm not going to do them at all because once the urgency passes, they're just unimportant and I don't need to do them, right? But if you can pare some of those things off your list, it can make it a much easier to figure out where you want to be spending your time. Okay? So that's the matrix. Notice this week how this shows up for you. You know, do you find yourself going through all of the urgent things, whether they're important or not? And where are some things that maybe are important but not urgent that get kind of pushed off to the side because they're urgent and not important? So just share what questions you have. I know that I have a little bit of a lag, so bear with me. That's not what I want. There we go. That's what I want. So bear with me for answering your questions. And if you would like to get my email that it goes out every Monday, sometimes Tuesday. It goes out Monday or Tuesday generally. So that you know what the topics are for the upcoming Wednesday Live with Evie. So you have that link right in your email and that reminder about what's coming up and a little bit more about the topic than generally what's in the Facebook event. Then, sign up for my newsletter. And you can do that at www.oneinsightcloser.com. And I'll pop that into the chat there for you. And one of the things that you'll get when you sign up for the newsletter is the freebie how to choose priorities when everything is important. And it kind of walks you through something similar to this: important, urgent, breaking things up into different categories. But it gives you a different way to look at it that I think can be really helpful when you're going through your week. So take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions about it. And if the newsletter's not for you, you can always sign up and can unsubscribe if you decide that's not the place for you to be. So, trying to think if there's anything else here. That's it for this week's Wednesday Live with Evie. So I will be back here next week with another topic. I already have an idea brewing in my head from something somebody posted earlier today. Actually, I made a couple of notes on it. So if you have anything that you'd like to see covered, let me know. Pop it in the comments or send me an email, and I will consider that topic. So until next week, much love. Bye.